Hello everyone, welcome back to Winds of Tilly. Today we're going to go to Vernonia Municipal Airport in Oregon. It's about 30 miles northwest of Portland out in the hills, and it has a 2,900 by 45 feet grass runway in good condition. It's at about 650 feet of elevation. Alright, here we go. We're going to be leaving Troutdale. Yay! It was a good day to fly. All right, here we are approaching the airport. Overflying it, as you see, it's right below us. And there was an airplane that just landed. Looks like a Beechcraft Sundowner. We eventually crossed path down on the runway, and he took off in front of me. So as you see, this airport is nestled between trees, and as a matter of fact, it's in a bowl. So all the surrounding terrain will eventually rise above the airport. So that is a consideration to have, uh, being that it is about 2,900, almost 3,000 foot long. It is actually long enough to make a good landing and then a good departure. The runway is pretty smooth. Here we're accelerating the video, making it a bit easier. We're approaching. We can set up for a very long final. The final is a little bit on a dog leg, and you have to aim for that cutout in between the trees and fly in there, and then at the last moment you'll have to make a small correction to the left. This is a wonderful little airport to land at. There is a campground next to it with a river where you can go fish in the summer or camp. As we're approaching right here, we are coming down closer to the trees. You don't necessarily need to be extremely low, as the runway, as I said before, is long enough. So as you feel comfortable, you just do the approach you prefer. This is about the correct one. I came in, kept it light on the touchdown. As a matter of fact, so light that the nose wheel really didn't want to come down. I let it roll down the runway because I had plenty of room. Probably used maybe half of the runway total on the roll. Uh, Probably by the time I turned around, I was a little bit past the half point, maybe even 2/3. But like I said, I didn't try to force it into a stop. Turn around, spinning up this. We moved over and made room for the other airplane to take off. I stayed relatively close to the runway. It's really hard to see what the edge of the runway looks like from the airplane. There might be some small ruts. Nothing, it didn't look like anything was too bad, but you definitely want to stay carefully slow in keeping the nose wheel off the ground if you're flying a nose wheel airplane. A tail dragger will probably do a teeny bit better. Line up again in full power. And I didn't even use 2 notches of flap, just one, just to keep the weight a little bit light. I flight this 182 and we were kind of light, so I didn't have too much trouble getting off the ground. Speed up and look around, and the best option here would be probably to turn left into probably what would be a left downwind departure. You can go straight out, but the hills get pretty tall that way, and you're going to be heading towards the ocean. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We turned back and went back towards Portland, and left the way we came. We climb out. I would say in that direction you have to be at about 2,500 feet to comfortably clear, but there's plenty of time to get to that altitude. Beautiful location with a lot of trees. Very, very easy to get to from Portland. I highly recommend, if you have never done anything like that, to fly in there. If you don't feel quite comfortable, bring an instructor or somebody that has more experience with grass. Okay, we'll switch into the forward view. Here we are on a left downwind runway 27. Again, it's runway 27 that we are approaching. You can land in the other direction. It presents another challenge because you'll have to be high over the hills as you come in. So then you come in a little steep for the final on the opposite runway. So runway 27, here it is. Now you have a better look probably at what I was talking about. The little cutout between the trees and it is at a maybe 15-20 degree off center line of the runway. You can come into the cutout and watch your speed, of course, watch all your approaches. Then at the last moment you will make the little correction to the left and gently settle the airplane. They don't have an actual windsock, they have flags as you see on the right side to indicate the wind. They're actually extremely easy to see and spot from the air, and it gives a really good indication where the wind is coming from. It's just as good as a windsock, if not a teeny bit better. Runway is again relatively smooth. A little hard to see where the center line is. There's not a lot of markings, but it's pretty wide. Here I backtracked, as you see the gentleman with the Beechcraft had waited for me to land, and he backtracked, and I moved over and saw him take off. You'll see it in a moment. You can park. There are many parking spots. There are a few tie downs. There's a fair amount of room to park, and the river's right behind you. Okay, there he goes. The river is to the right side, just behind a fence and a little campground. All right, we will land up. Runway 27, rolling. This airport is definitely accessible by almost any airplane. There should be no problem for most people because of the length of the runway and the smoothness, and obviously it's one you want to calculate a little bit. In the summer you're not going to have a super performance, so pay attention if you have a lower horsepowered airplane, but it's a wonderful place to go. I highly recommend it again. Whenever you have a chance, put it on your list. Go with a friend, share it, and sometime come and join me on some of these adventures. This time I only had Moose with me, and she was disappointed that we didn't stop. She was a little bit antsy. She really wanted to get out. Oh well, we did stop somewhere else, and she got to run around. Anyway, thank you so very much for joining me. Do hope to see you soon, and for all you aviators, fly safe, and we'll see you in the skies. For all my other friends, maybe you can join me someday. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. So long.